In this video, I'm going to be discussing with you crucial information that you need to know so that way the next time you go out with a friend or a wing, you're in a position to have a successful night, crush your goals, and really just have a lot of fun, epic experiences. All right, it's all going down in this video. I'm going to be going super in depth with this, pointing out several different examples, subtle nuances I've learned over the last decade of going out. So watch this video until the end. And without further ado, let's get it. What's going on, guys? Kyle Frungen here, CEO and founder of Self Mastery, where it is my mission to help you become the most confident and best version of yourself. In today's video, we're going to be discussing wingmanship, going over everything you need to know. I have a bunch of stuff written out here on the board, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing you need to know if you're going out with a wing or a friend on a night out at the town, point number one is be on the same page with each other. This is crucial. You guys need to know before you get to the venue what your goals are. A lot of guys end up just going to a venue with their friend. They walk into the venue, they go to the bar, they start ordering drinks. They have no clear-cut goals set out, and neither of them are on the same page about what's to go down that night. So the earlier you can discuss with your wing what the goal is for the night, where I'm struggling, what I'm trying to accomplish for the night, and you guys are both clear on that, it's going to set up the foundation for both of you guys to be in sync with each other to have a really productive, successful night. So I recommend personally, you guys text each other what your goals are. And the second thing I have written down here is be specific. Be as specific as possible. That means if you're not really used to going out to the venues, maybe your goal is to just interact with 3 girls. Maybe it's 5 girls, or maybe it's 10 girls, or maybe you want to go up and talk to the 3 hottest women in the venue tonight. Whatever your goals are, be as specific as possible. And I would also write out in the amount of time that you want to accomplish this in. So maybe you're trying to go in and get some social momentum. You may have a goal of, okay, I want to interact with at least 3 people in the first 5 minutes of entering the venue. You and your wing should know that. That way, the moment you walk into the venue, you have a timer going off saying, cool, we have 5 minutes. Let's get into these first couple interactions. And then the last part of number 1 is you can use cash or incentives as leverage to take action. So oftentimes when I would go out with my wing, if my goal was to approach 5 women, I would literally hand my wing $100 and I would tell him, do not pay me this money back until I actually approach the women, or you could give me back $20 every time I make the approach. When you have cash on the line, you're gonna be a lot more inclined to actually go up and approach the girl, because not only are you not taking action, but you're actually gonna lose money if you don't go up and approach the girl. So I actually encourage you can have a friendly wager between you and your wing. It's either you don't pay me back if I don't approach, or whoever gets more approaches in tonight actually takes the cash, or it could be someone buying the next round. But you wanna use cash and incentives as added leverage for you guys to push each other to take action. It also makes it more of a fun game, kind of competitive bet going on, which is, again, more incentive for you to take action and crush your goals. Let's move into point number 2, which is the importance of priority. So a big mistake I used to make when I would go out with my wings is we would both get into a set and then we would start battling and competing for the hot girl. You should just make it a rule of thumb that it's first come, first serve in the set. So whoever's the guy that actually goes in and approaches the set, that's the one that gets priority. He gets his pick of the litter, and then the wing that comes in after has to kind of fall in line. All right, it's also extra incentive for you to take action and open the group as well. Let's move into point number 3, which is a couple different situations. Let's say hypothetically your wing was the one that went in and opened the group. You could pretty much do one of 2 different things. It's pretty much option A. If he opened, you can then open the group after, once the set has been hooked. Notice I said once it's hooked. Just because he goes in does not mean you should be trailing in right behind him. Let him get into the set, let them have some back and forth, and once you see that it's actually reached a social hook point, then you can go in. And by the way, I'm gonna be teaching you guys several different ways to properly go into the interaction. So watch this in a little bit, I'm gonna break that down for you. The other option is it's not always ideal for you to actually go into the set. Sometimes, depending on the group dynamic, it's best that you actually don't go into the set and you just let him go do his thing. In which case, you're not just gonna stand there like a fucking douchebag hovering around in the club. What you need to do at that point, you make it a rule that you must get into at least 1 interaction while he's in that set. So if your wing goes in and opens, you can either go in after using the techniques I'm gonna show you, or you're gonna chill out for a minute, realize you can't go in there, and then you have an obligation to interact with at least 1 other person, ideally even more than that. All right, so that's number 3. Now let's move into some actual examples of how to properly come into the set. I'm also going to talk about a couple mistakes I see guys making when they try to go in with a wing. First off, let's talk about the mistakes. One of the biggest ones I see men making is that they try to just go into the group with you and your wing. It's like you do a two-man open on two girls. It's going to be a lot more unlikely for the set to hook this way, because not only do they need to accept one person, but two people need to accept two people. So the mathematical odds of it actually hooking is a lot lower. So I don't recommend you guys do that. The other option, and this is often a mistake I see as well, is one guy goes in, he starts talking, and then very early on, the wing goes in and starts talking to the other girl. If the set has not fully hooked, and the guy that's coming in is not really good, more than likely it's gonna start to give off a weird vibe, because I came in, I start talking to the girl, and then like 5-10 seconds later, the wing just starts coming in as well. And then 10 seconds later, the girls are looking around like, who the fuck are these two dudes that just came in, they're hitting on us? So you don't want it to look that way either. I don't recommend you guys do that either. What I do recommend though, is that one of you goes in, he starts interacting, he opened the set, he starts engaging. Once it's reached a hook point, the wing does not go in to talk to the girls. Surprise, surprise. He actually wants to go in and open the other wing. So the way you would do this, and I'll give you a really good example of this, because what you don't want to do is you go up to your wing and you're like, hey, what's up, man? Like, yo, introduce me. It's conveying so much interest. And again, it's just giving off this vibe that it's two dudes trying to hit on a girl. It's just not a good look. So what you want to do, and I think this is really fucking gold, is you're gonna go up to your wing and you're gonna briefly start an interaction without conveying any interest to the women. And here's a great routine that I think anybody can use. I use it with my wing as well. And it goes something along the lines of this. You're gonna open your wing. Again, you're gonna tap him on the shoulder. You're not committed to the set. I'm not going into the group. I tap my wing on the shoulder if he's facing that way. And I just briefly say loud enough, hey, have you seen Jessica, by the way? Her and her friends keep blowing up my phone. And when I say this, I don't go into the group. I say this in a nonchalant way, over the shoulder, but loud enough so that the girls hear me as well. So it's kind of conveying I'm not trying to even talk to them really. And it's also a DHV, because it's like, yo, we have other girls possibly here and they're blowing up my phone. Have you seen them? All right, so you could see why this is a lot more subtle and why it comes off very non-agenda like. So you could tap him on the shoulder. Hey man, have you seen Jessica and her friends, by the way? They keep blowing up my phone. Now the wing can turn back and say, no, actually, honestly, I haven't. And at this point, the wing is still not committed to the set. He could probably be tapped on the shoulder. He's right here. He's talking to them. And now it's on the guy that's in the set to say, no, honestly, I haven't seen them. But yo, come meet my new friends. And now you can bring him into the set and introduce them. Hey, Tom, this is Sam. And now we're actually in a group dynamic where it makes sense and it's not two dudes hitting on two girls, and we can actually set up a proper interaction, okay? That's fucking gold right there. Do not underestimate how this can work. So now that we've properly opened the group, what is the dynamic? How do we go about doing this? I'm gonna break this down really quick for you guys. So it's two girls and it's two guys. There's a couple different dynamics that can be at play right now. The most ideal, and if both of you guys are good and it open properly, what you can do at this point is you just both transition into one-on-one communication while you guys are all next to each other. You introduced your wing, and then you just start talking to your target, and he instantly starts making observations and vibing with the other friend. That's the most ideal. You guys start getting into one-on-ones with both of you guys, start building up the vibe that way. However, it may not always work that way. More than likely, your friends may not be into pickup. They may not be as good as you. So if I'm about to introduce Tom and I know he doesn't have good game, I'm gonna need to help him out a little bit in the beginning. And the easiest thing I like to do is right after I introduce him to the girls, I'm gonna present a topic for them to talk about. I'm either gonna say a fun fact about Tom to Sam, or I'm gonna say something about Sam to Tom. So right after I introduce them, hey Tom, this is Sam, Tom, this is Jessica. Oh, Sam, by the way, Colombiano. Yeah, so she's actually half Hispanic. I just presented a topic for them to now talk about. Otherwise, if I don't say anything, I just keep talking to my girl, Tom might be there and he might be like, oh, so where are you from? What do you like to do? And then the set's dying. So the moment you can make it fun right away and present a topic to them, the easier it's gonna be for the conversation to get off the ground. So I carry the weight on my back like a boss and fucking start running the interaction for both of them. Now, once it's gotten off the ground, I can now go back into one-on-one with my girl. So I say one or two things to let them get it off the ground, and then at some point I turn back to my girl and I'm like, wait, so what were you saying? You said you're Puerto Rican? And now my communication is now just back to one-on-one. So I have group communication where I'm talking to everybody, and I get the topic off the ground for them, and then I change my communication back into one-on-one. Oh, so my voice gets a little lower, I just start looking only at her, and I let them start doing their thing. And then the last part about this, and again, this is a little bit more advanced, so you guys are gonna need to pay attention, but periodically throughout the interaction, I need to monitor them, okay? Because if I get the sense that the vibe starts dying down again, I may need to go back over, give them a little bit more attention, and just pump some vibe back into their interaction, which is totally fine. So I can be talking to my girl, and if I see it's dying out, I might react and go and bring them back in like, what? Yo, Tom, can you believe that she said blah, 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 blah? Or wait, what? Sam, there's no way. Yo, Tom, I can't. They're just telling me that literally they've never been to Miami. So I bring the whole group back into a dynamic to just pump some vibe back into them. It keeps going, and then I could transition back into one-on-one again. So that's everything you need to know about properly opening. A couple different dynamics are at play, and how to start maneuvering these different situations when you're with your wing. And this same theory applies to a group setting of 2, 3, 4. You could do it the same way. It doesn't only need to be 2-on-2. If there's more people, it's going to be a very similar concept. You would open the same way. You could run the group the same way. And at some point, you get into one-on-one with your girl. Okay, so that's the idea of getting into one-on-one, the idea of helping Tom. And then the last part about the group dynamic I want to talk about is the idea of having equal escalation between you and your target and your wing and his target. So ideally, if there's two different interactions going on, you never want to get to a point where your escalation is all the way up here and Tom's like right there. Okay, because keep in mind, Tom probably has a whack vibe. The last thing you want to do is be making out with your girl 5-10 minutes into the interaction, and they're just standing there looking at you kissing, and the girl's like, wow, they're already making out? Or Tom's dumbass probably says, oh, yo, I think your girl's feeling him. By acknowledging the fact that their escalation's all the way up here and they're still at some friendly level, it puts a lot of pressure on these two now, and it's gonna be even harder for Tom to escalate and make something happen because this is already going on. So if you notice your girl's into you, I'm not saying you need to stay at this level, but you just don't want it to be super incongruent. I might take it to a level that's like here. We're getting really flirty. We're getting closer and closer. And then at some point, I probably want to move the group somewhere and actually coach Tom. So we go to the bar. I might have to tell him while we're walking the bar, yo, dude, like, you're not escalating enough, bro. Like, what's up? You gotta escalate a little bit. Dude, I think she's kind of feeling you. Like, go for it a little bit. All right? Or get a little bit more physical. You may need to coach him a little bit. Okay? And maybe even throughout the whole night, honestly, but that may be how it goes down. If it gets to a point where, you know, more time's going by and just Tom's just not making a move, okay, whatever. In that case, I'm just gonna go for it. I gave him a chance. I tried to make it equal, but at some point, if it's not going down, it's not going down. And then at which case, you can just go for your girl. And then later on, you guys could end up talking about it. Or I might keep escalating with my girl. I might end up just getting a solid phone number. It's gonna be kind of unlikely that I'm gonna pull this girl and then Tom's gonna pull them if it's a very friendly vibe. So if it's two of you guys and you're really trying to make something happen, ideally the escalation is somewhat at a similar level. Okay, so that's everything you need to know about opening groups properly, the mistakes guys make, and a couple different scenarios and how the dynamics play out. I hope that part was really educational. Let's talk about the last couple points of this. Once the interaction actually ends, what do we do? Okay, let's say the set goes 15 minutes, maybe it goes 5 minutes, maybe it goes an hour. The first thing you guys should do, very quick breakdown and move on. Okay, so very quickly you could talk about what was missing from the set. What does Tom need to work on? What did you do wrong? What was a mistake that you guys could talk about really quickly to get more in sync for the remainder of the night? So quick breakdown. You don't want to sit there for an hour doing some technical analysis like some fucking PUA losers. Quick breakdown, keep it moving. The next step, check-ins. Okay, remember early on, I said you guys want to be on the same page about what your goals are for the night. Check in with your wing throughout the night about where he's at with his goals. Set timers to go off once every 30 or 60 minutes where you guys could literally look at each other and say, oh shit, bro, yo, you told me you were trying to do this in this amount of time. How's it going? How far, did you accomplish the goal? Oh shit, you still got 2 more approaches? Okay, let's crank those out for you. Or, bro, I'm still slacking. You gotta point out a fucking hot girl right now and I'm going in. Or I'm buying the next round. Point her out. Okay, so check in throughout the night to see where you're at with your goals, set timers, use cash as leverage, and that's the more structure and accountability you have in place throughout the night between you and your wing, the more successful it's gonna be, the more results you're gonna get out of this. And then the last part of this is, if you guys don't close, debrief at the end of the day, at the end of the night, really. You know, maybe you guys go get food after, maybe you guys go back to your house, or on the drive home at the very least. You wanna break down the night. You wanna talk about specifically what was done well, congratulate Tom on what he did well. That's another thing to point out is your wing may not be as open to criticism. He might have a little bit of ego. He's not into pickup and game like how you are. Maybe he is, ideally, maybe he's not. If he's not, well then you're gonna have to be a little bit softer on the feedback. You don't wanna bombard him, pointing out all of his flaws. He may end up actually taking it personally and not wanting to go out with you again. I've gotten into several arguments with my friends because I was super passionate about this stuff. They just weren't open-minded enough to even hear the feedback. So sometimes you gotta meet them at their level, point out what they actually did good, and then you just need to lead by example to show him you know what the fuck you're doing. And over time, he'll probably slowly start to fall into your frame and he may start asking for more and more advice. So end of the night, you're gonna debrief the interactions, talk about what was good, what was bad, congratulate each other. And that's everything you need to know about being a good wing. That's advanced wingmanship. There's definitely a lot of subtleties that go into this. Personally, I think having a good wing is detrimental to your success long-term with pickup. If you don't have wings right now, great. You need to start going out alone. You start finding friends, finding wings. But I think the importance of having a wing that you can rely on to go out with, to hold accountable, to have competitive fun and accountability with can really improve your success. Also, your motivation to want to keep going out, especially if you have somebody hitting you up on the weekends to go out and to push each other. And what it really comes down to at the end of the day is it just makes the night out a lot more fun. It's cool to talk to somebody about this. It's cool to have epic experiences with a close friend. Some of my closest friends were guys that were my wings because you get to talk about your vulnerabilities, your sticking points, you put your ego to the side, you connect on a deep level. It really creates a dynamic between the friendship that is stronger than surface level friendships you'll have at work or at the gym or anywhere else. And by the way, if you're looking to learn more about this stuff, all right, if you're looking to level up, improve your social skills, your dating life, and cultivate a magnetic vibe. Remember what I was talking about Tom? You don't want to have a whack vibe like Tom. You want a magnetic vibe that draws women in and attracts them into your lifestyle. If you're looking to learn more about that, I put together a free training down below. You can check out my brand new MVB product. The link is in the description. Check that out. And there's also a link down there if you want to apply to work with me one-on-one. Okay, so check those out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, Kyle Frungen signing out. Peace out, guys.